Right, tiny phone people. Oops, today's episode is totally off the cuff. Zero preparation or any ideas of what I'm going to create in here. All that I do know is when I arrived downstairs this morning, my stick insects, I believe they're my stick insects, had evolved. Not only evolved, but had become absolutely and utterly gigantic. This one here, which you'll probably not be able to see, has fucking wings. So when I get these bastards out of here, which is after creating whatever I'm going to create in there, I'm most probably going to cack myself. But that's all in the name of shits and giggles. So without further ado, let's talk about what I am going to do. So here, move this to the side. Here, we are using my good old mix of clay soil from the garden and water. I'm mixing it up as if it is cement, and I will then stylize it on the back and sides of this terrarium. Starting with this back bit here, it's going to take absolutely ages because that is a huge surface area. My trusty hairdryer is with me. Lots of you loved that. I love this. It's been with me for at least 10 years. In fact, I think it was stolen off my missus when we were dating. Right, so there's going to be a lot of blow drying, a lot of clay soil being mixed in here, some talking periodically. When I do get creative, I don't like to talk. I just like to crack on. And I might get cheesed off because I don't know what I'm creating, so that will probably bring its own joys. I've also got a couple of colonies of springtails that I've been keeping aside, thinking one day I might make a project. This is that project, and we'll find some isopods somewhere too. So without further ado, let's just crack on. Enough pontificating. I'm going to need some more sticks. Oh, it's going to be hard. It is going to be hard, but we're gonna let's just start, shall we? Instead of pontificating, I need a spatula of some sort. Mrs. might come in and see me and go mental, but that could be quite funny for you. So there we go. Let's just give this a little mix from the bottom to the top, you know? Right, let's just get some of this in, shall we? Let's begin the process of spreading this everywhere. Get a nice thin layer down, and then we can work on some textures, lumps and bumps afterwards. Now don't get me wrong, this is literally soil from my garden. In here are bits of wood, bits of possible perlite when I've thrown out a plant into the garden. But it is mainly just your average UK garden soil, not bought, that's already in there. That's already beaming with life. Before I drowned it all. No, it's still beaming with life, I reassure you. That needs a bit of moisture in there. Don't be afraid. I mean, it is quite scary when you look at it and you think, oh my God, what on earth is this prick doing? But as I said before, it's not calculated. I don't even know what this is going to look like when I finished, but I think it'll be all right. Let's face it, as long as the creatures that live inside are happy and you've managed to replicate some sort of habitat that they enjoy, even if it's not the most appealing visually, who cares? Because it's for them at the end of the day. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do care, I want both. But if I can't have both, I'd prefer it that the animal was happy instead of I. What I do suggest doing when you do this is you want to try and press down as much of the air that's trapped underneath this, because the more bubbles that you've got, the less it's going to adhere to the back as it dries. I would think of this literally like clay and pottery. So we are making a sculpture, and then the hairdryer is going to be our kiln that's going to dry it all and set it in place. It is simply that we're doing. I apologise for the screaming behind. I've tried to mute my wife and children for years now, but unfortunately it doesn't work. And I also wouldn't say that if she heard me, for fear of my own life. A little bit thin down at the bottom here, so I'm just going to come in and give it a bit more oomph. Right, this slides on the top, so I don't want this to go too far. I'm going to put earth on the sides, so it doesn't matter if there's a bit of soil sticking to this side, because it'll be covered anyway. Where this is going to be an absolute nightmare is the fact that this drying time is going to take absolutely ages. But hell, you know, patience is a virtue, virtue is a grace, and Grace is a little girl that doesn't wash her face. So, in the name of grace, we shall succeed. A little bit of a moist bit here, because that's a bit dry there. So I tried my best to mix this all up outside, because I didn't want the missus to go ape shit on me. And then I want to really get a first layer of drying going on, and then stick some wood in. Gonna leave that there for a bit. Hopefully the glass doesn't crack. If it does, I'm gonna cry. It's not gonna be. In the gentle embrace of dawn, I find myself drawn to the world within glass walls, where the wild beauty of nature takes refuge. Here I begin crafting a sanctuary for the prickly Australian stick insects, a testament to the harmony of life. The soil, dark and rich, is the first layer of this miniature world. With each handful I lay down a foundation of promise and potential, knowing it will cradle the roots of life. The moss follows, a green whisper of ancient forests, hugging the contours of the terrain, softening edges and preserving moisture. Twigs, stark and angular and annexed, they stretch upwards, skeletal frameworks that beckon exploration. Each placement is deliberate, every twig a pathway for my slender companions. In these small acts, I see the larger story of nature's resilience and adaptability. Right, we are going to see if I am able to do this. It's the moment of truth. I really do need to stand it up perfectly, but I am scared. As I arrange the branches and moss, I envisage the final masterpiece. I imagine the stick insects, delicate and fierce, blending seamlessly with the twigs, their slender bodies a masterclass in camouflage. In this moment, the terrarium is a promise of what it is to come. The branches provide shelter, the moss a soft bed, and the soil a firm anchor. Together, they'll create a harmonious ecosystem where the stick insect shall thrive. Each twig and each patch of moss contribute to the balance of this miniature world. As I work, I feel a profound connection to the natural world, a sense of purpose in creating a sanctuary for these remarkable creatures. Right, we've nearly done one side. Well, the back and one side. I have no idea if you can hear me, but before pressing play, I've been stood like this, staring at mud dry for about 35 minutes. I'm going to risk it for a biscuit. Try without breaking. Now, I did something that you didn't see, but I'm going to explain what that is in a minute. That side looks to be a slight different color. It's because while the mud was still moist, I had thrown over a mix of cocoa fibre, chopped up leaves and sort of forest dust, really. And I need to do that on the back, but because it's dried now, I'm going to need to spray it down with some water and then do it. But before I do that, I'm going to finish this side here. Hopefully this is not going to fall over and break. Is it moving? I don't think so. Nice and slow. Right. Looks okay. This is still moist, thankfully. Let's stick a dollop of this down the bottom. Get my little trusty piece of wood. That's not good. That's moving a lot. And that's come out. Right, we'll have to reposition that in a minute. That's falling down. Oh, shit. This is what happens when you don't let it dry for long enough. This is not good, people. This is not good. Let's push that in as far as we can. There's obviously a little oxygen gap in there. Let's put that back on, full blast. This bit of wood was in here, and I think that is the reason, one of the reasons that came out. Damn it. Try and sculpt this, even though it's not the right position to do it in at all. Patience and time are powerful allies. Though the journey may be slow and filled with challenges, each step builds towards eventual success. Every moment of perseverance contributes to your growth, and one day the fruits of your labour will blossom magnificently. This flourishing will prove that the wait was not only worthwhile, but deeply rewarding. I do not want the back to dry too much, as I have not placed the cocoa fibre on the back. So, see what we're working with here. There's a bit missing on that side there. Something going towards the front for sure. I don't know what we can use here. And that will hopefully give me a little sticky layer for this stuff to stay on top. Some of this in. What happen is the excess will fall to the bottom. It'll mix with the substrate, and the isopods and such will be very happy. Let's give that a little pat down. Hopefully some things, little things, will stick on there, which will give it a nice appearance, to be fair. Chuck a bit in there. Oh. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All of this excess that's fallen out we'll just lob in there. And now, a final dry down. Time passes quietly, shaping our lives with each moment. The present becomes the past in an instant, and memories layered to form our history. We see it in the changing seasons and aging faces. Time moves us forwards, teaching us that each fleeting moment is precious. Right, let's just put some soil in for now, shall we? Beneath a towering tree lie deep roots, anchoring it firmly. Our endeavours, too, need solid foundations of trust and dedication. These unseen supports help us weather storms and rise higher. True greatness stems from the steadfast groundwork beneath us. I've gone to collect some moss from the pond, which is perfect because it's nice and thin sheeting that I believe I will be able to simply stick on top of these. My phone ran out of battery while I was planting the tank. And before I realised that the phone wasn't filming anything, I'd finished planting the tank. However, I took a series of cuttings from other terrariums and moss from my pond outside to decorate this newly made terrarium. And you've joined just in time for me to add the springtails and the isopods before the main inhabitants of this terrarium. And there we have it. One love, tiny phone.